I hate vlogs! And look what I'm doing. Put this little gold transition here because it's a gold mining town, so it seemed to fit. I've also put a couple cuts in here because we were passing by some residential areas and I didn't want to be filming in anybody's houses. But I tried to keep as much of the original audio as I could, and a lot of it was rubbish, so I decided to delete it and make a Thoughts from Places video. Except I don't think this really qualifies as a Thoughts from Places video because I'm not actually there right now. I'm recording this audio 2 weeks after I filmed this video. Anyway, there's been some movies filmed here, like Back to the Future 3, and he's going to talk about another movie that was filmed here later on. And yeah, I wasn't even really expecting to go here. My ex-girlfriend just showed up and said, "Hey, you want to go to Railtown?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" The weird thing is that this place is within walking distance of my house, and I've lived here since, well, forever. I was born in this county, and I've been within walking distance of this place since I was 4. But I've never actually been on this train before filming this video, at least not that I can remember. And here comes one of those cuts I was talking about. And there it goes. But yeah, this is actually the first time I can remember being on this train. I might have been on it once before, but I don't really remember that very well. So I'm sure my dad will comment it below, correcting me if I'm wrong. Anyway, all this footage is out this one window. If I would have had the battery to film more, I would have gone on it again, but sat on the other side of the train so I can film out the other window. But my battery died by the end of this, and that's because I was out filming all night the night before for the video you saw last week. That whole haunted and paranormal investigations video with Paul Dale Roberts. I'm also going to point out before this guy starts talking that I forgot to actually find out what his name was. And one of my teachers from school actually works here. And I don't know if he watches my videos on YouTube, but Mr. Kraft, if you are out there watching, could you please contact me? Tell me what his name is so I can actually credit him properly in the video description. I actually feel really bad about that now, but I wasn't actually intending to use any of the audio when I decided to upload this. I was just going to do Thoughts from Places and talk over the whole thing, except then I realized I don't have anything to talk about for this entire video, so I gotta keep some of the audio, and I'm gonna stop talking now.
This is where a movie was made called Go West. Go West starred the Marx Brothers. And what they did is they had come out from New York and they got involved in a situation where they were chasing some bad guys. Well, the bad guys were in a buckboard being pulled by horses, the Marx Brothers were running the number 3 steam engine chasing them. Well, they had no clue how to run an engine, so the train was going fast, it was going slow, it was even stopping a few times. Anyway, the bad guys pulled up some tracks here to derail the train. But the movie studio did not want to buy us a new engine. So they built tracks out onto that property there that went out and around and came back on. At the same time, they had a house on the track. I'm getting this story all messed up now. Anyway, so they went around like they were in a merry-go-round. Round and around and around. At one point, they ran through the house that was on the property, carried it around on the engine, smoke coming out of the chimney of the house, and Groucho looks out the window, he says, "Come on in, we got a beautiful fire going on in here." The tracks, the railroad, not the tracks themselves, but the ties, were made out of redwood because the movie studio could afford that. Well, they got the train back on the tracks, they caught the bad guys, and it ended well. Groucho, at the end of the movie, helped hammer in the Golden Stake that brought together the Continental Railroad. Now, we know that's true because it was in a movie, right? Everything in a movie is true.
So yeah, Mr. Kraft, if you're out there watching and you recognize that guy's voice, please tell me who he is. I actually talked to him just as we were getting off the train and asked him if Mr. Kraft was there working that day, and apparently he wasn't, but he said to me, you're not a student anymore. Call him Lowell. He's an equal now. And my reaction to that was, it's a force of habit now because he was a teacher for many years, and he wasn't really a teacher. He subbed for a lot of my classes from elementary school all the way through high school. So from like kindergarten or whenever the first time he subbed for my class was until senior year of high school, he was Mr. Kraft. So that's what I knew him by, and that's what I'm going to keep calling him because it's a force of habit now. I can't stop calling him that. I've even been to his house a couple of times because he's thrown parties for the theater that I used to work at, and he has posters all over his house from all the different shows there, and he's a regular contributor to the theater. And plus, he hosts the actors from out of town, so yeah, I've been to his house.
On the left-hand side over here, you can see Three Horse Rescue Ranch. They rescue horses, burros, and mules. And you can see them right through here. Here we're coming up on it right now. You guys will be able to see it. I'm going to talk to the lady when I make a donation to them this year about cutting these trees down. I don't know if they have the ability to do that, but it would be really nice to see. Here's some of the horses right here. And sometimes the burros will come up close, but then our engineer will blow his whistle or something, or just simply scare them off. Yeah. Anyway, so they take care of the animals that need it.
I had to stop talking again so that little clip of audio about a charity group could actually be in the video. And I went from not having enough to say to actually having to stop in the middle of my thought for the audio of the video to play. And anyway, going back to what I was saying before, I've been to Mr. Kraft's house, and even though I've been to work parties at his house with several actors from the theater that I work at, I still can't call him by his first name. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but it's just force of a habit to call him Mr. Kraft. He is Mr. Kraft. I'm 28 years old, and I still can't call my teachers by their first name. Is that weird? Is that just me? I'm pretty sure that's normal. You get in the habit of doing that, so whenever you see your teachers after you graduate, they're still your teachers. uh, so now, what am I going to talk about next? Um, th- I already talked about that. Um, there's some more video audio coming up, and he's going to mention that he had to go back and talk about something we already passed because there's not much else to talk about. And I really liked leaving that clip in because it kind of matches with what I'm doing right now, which is not having much else to talk about. Yeah, I'm really anticipating this next bit of audio to come up because I don't know what to talk about, and I could really use the time to think of something else to talk about. Hey, look, trees. See, that's not interesting. What am I doing?
There are some places that are owned by the state that you can go pan. You can pay to pan a fella over there across from the highway there. He charges you. They charge you like $35 an hour or something. I had a group of people on the train and they said, "Oh yeah, we found this gold there." I said, "Well, how much is it worth?" "About $35. There were like 5 or 6 of them. I said, "Well, how much you guys pay to gold?" $35 a piece. You made out. Anyway, so yeah, there's still pan gold out there. A number of years back, somebody pulled out a really large nugget. Wouldn't tell anybody where he got it. Let's go back to that cut in the rocks. I've got to go back and catch up with myself because at this point I don't have much else to say. Back there in the cut in the rocks, that's where the bad guys would jump on the train. They would come in the train and they'd rob you. Okay, Sierra Railroad did this as a concession. And they had the guy come on the train and robbed you. Well, they didn't do very good and they weren't very happy with it. So what they did is they had another concessionaire do it. He did the same thing. In 1987, this became a state park under the then and now Governor Brown signed off on it. Well, it was decided that historically Sierra Railroad was never ever robbed. With it not being robbed, they said, well, you can't do that because it's never been robbed. So they decided that on April 15th every year, the state would do it for us so we don't have to do it anymore.
That's still funny. Even though I've heard it like 6 times now while editing this video. This is also like my 6th take recording this audio because I keep running out of things to say and then starting over again. But I'm actually close to the end of the video now, so I think I might actually use this take. Well, I still got a little bit of video to talk over, so... But it's not too bad. Before, it was like 2 minutes in and I was already running out of stuff to say, so I kept redoing it. But yeah, the end logo is about to pop up, and so I can stop talking now. Yay! Yeah, I really hate vlogs.